Higher learning institutions across the country are anxiously waiting to see if President Reagan's proposed decrease in college funding will be approved by Congress. The Virginia Community College system, with its 23 institutions, is no different. Budget cuts suggested by the Reagan administration could seriously affect the funding of vocational education programs and financial aid for students, this according to the chancellor of the community colleges.
The student financial aid cuts, of course, go directly to underwrite the cost of education for students. Our biggest concern there is that if those cuts are too deep, that the students who are most in need of our services might have pressures against them continuing their education, which would be the very most costly thing that could happen as far as the Commonwealth of Virginia or the economy of the country is concerned.
Dr. Henson says if the cuts are approved, only two viable options remain: cutting services or raising tuition, neither of which he favors. Henson, who later spoke to students and faculty at TCC, rules out the possibility of looking to the state for funding because he says its budget is tight too. Ava Hurdle, Area 10 Eyewitness News, Suffolk. Any reduction in the funding of Pell or basic grants would harm the most students at Norfolk State, about 1,500, and a few at Christopher Newport College. But at ODU, Virginia Wesleyan, and William and Mary, more than 2,000 who depend upon guaranteed student loans could be hurt the most if the education budget is cut.
That up to 90% of the students who are now borrowing from this program, and it is a loan program, not a gift, who are borrowing from this program would be affected by the cuts.
The guaranteed loan funds would hit the largest number of students in this institution, but the Pell Grants would be extremely important here also. Almost 50-50, almost an even impact.
The group says students should apply for aid anyway, otherwise whatever assistance does come through will be available to them.
Because I think of the human resource in this country as being the greatest asset that we have, and I think that any large cut that would diminish the opportunity for people who wanted to have a chance to go to school would be one of the biggest mistakes we've ever made.
College administrators say the possible cuts in financial aid won't be the only thing facing students this fall. Tuition will go up at all of the state's institutions, but administrators would like to see the public write to Washington to request a minimal cut in the education budget because they don't want to see any students turned away due to the inability to pay tuition costs. Ava Hurdle, Area 10 Eyewitness News, Norfolk.